right?
Oh.
Sean, this is Kylie. I remember I said I was going to call you back.
Oh.
I don't know what you're doing. Can you tell me what's going on? Where are you? Did you take something?
No, I never take anything.
Why are you sounding like that? What is happening?
I'm having an allergic reaction to abuse.
Where are you at?
I'm at Lily in a Goodspeed Park.
You're at the park?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why are you sounding like that? You didn't take anything, right?
No, I never take anything.
Okay.
I never take anything.
Okay. I just want to make sure you didn't you weren't speaking like we were last time you talked. So you sounded like something was very wrong. Do you want me to let you go? Or do you not want to talk to me?
Ma'am, this is the way I always am. I have to hide it all the time.
Yeah, but
you know how exhausting it is to hide this all the time. I can't do it.
But when we talked an hour ago, before I had to go to my meeting, we were having a regular conversation. And now you don't want to talk, it sounds like.
No, ma'am, please don't put words in my mouth. An hour ago, I was trying not to blow my head off and hoping that somebody would listen.
So, Sean, I'm trying to help you. You're not making it easy for me to try. When I asked you earlier if you felt safe, you told me yes.
No, I didn't. I told you I never feel safe. I told you I wasn't going to hurt myself or others.
Let's not yell, dude. Come on,
I'm not yelling. I'm having a panic attack. Please don't accuse me of yelling.
Okay, well, breathe.
I do breathe. Please don't tell me to breathe. I am breathing. That's what I was doing when you called me.
Okay. Well, if you were in the middle of a panic attack, you should have sent me to voicemail. I could have tried back. I apologize. If you're telling me that you want to blow your head off, I'm going to have to call it a welfare check for you.
See, that's exactly the problem. You can't help me, but you'll help my predators by sending me in for a welfare check.
It's not your predator. I don't know why you're saying that.
You don't stop to consider everything that will be taking me in that. Have you ever been homeless? Have you ever been in for a welfare check?
Yes, actually I have. So, you're telling me, though, that you want to blow your head off, and my job is to try to keep you safe.
Keeping me safe how?
From you not hurting yourself. When we spoke earlier and I asked you...
But there's nothing about anybody else hurting me. Nobody cares about that.
Okay, but when do you remember talking to me about an hour ago?
I do remember talking to you. I'm not retarded.
I did not say that. I would never say that.
Ma'am, I'm going to tell you something. So I'm going to
let you go. Why don't you call me back when you feel like chatting? Okay? Because right now you just seem pissed off at me.
Ma'am, I'm trying to get heard.
Okay, well, this is yelling at me or telling me that I'm calling you names that I'm not calling you. Is it going to work?
I wasn't yelling at you, and it wasn't that you were calling me a retard. It's that your inferences with your questions. I remember talking to you an hour ago. I'm not retarded.
Okay. Well, that's a really offensive word. You know that, right?
I do. I've been called retarded. I've been called retarded my entire life. I've also been treated retarded my entire life.
It's a really offensive word, so it's probably not. I would never call anybody that. I would not call you that. I would not call somebody that. But when we spoke earlier, right before we hung up, and I said to you, I asked you, do you feel like hurting yourself? You told me no.
Ma'am, I don't want my words being used to victimize me again.
Okay, I don't
I
understand
would
what that
rather be
means.
dead than on a suicide watch, so don't do that. Give me hope.
I'm trying to help you, Sean.
Well, that requires listening, and I am trying real hard to calm down. That's the thing about being autistic.
So what happened when you were at the counseling center? What happened when you were talking to with Michael? Is he going to assist you with anything, or you said that did not go well?
No, it did
What
not
happened?
go well. He didn't understand that I needed space to work on this, and he didn't understand that I can't just stay out here and take this abuse. I can't take this sensory overload. This is an evil thing to do to somebody, and I can't function.
So you feel like you need a quiet space?
That's what I've needed for the last 6 years, ma'am. I've been stuck with alcoholics and drug dealers, or stuck in jails and prisons for trying to turn into me child abusers. That I can't function in public, ma'am. I have never been able to do that. I had my friends in Boulder, and they kept me safe just because they existed. But when it's just me alone, I'm the easiest person to victimize on the planet.
So, Sean, I don't remember, so please remind me, and I am sorry I don't remember, but last time you and I spoke, it was back in December, so it was a while ago, but remind me, how did you end up in Oregon?
I had to flee Nebraska. People were threatening to kill my little sister, and they were threatening to kill friends of mine, and the sheriff was intimidating myself and others. He'd assaulted me, and then there was a registered sex offender named Robert Franklin Warnick, and he threatened me over and over and over again, and I tried to turn him in, and the cops wouldn't do it, no matter what, because of the mental health tag. And I had to go to a bunch of therapists there, and I was told if I go to these therapists, they're mandated reporters, they have to help me, and I went, and I told them what was happening, and they didn't listen. And Tamara was trying to help me. She was my caseworker, and she helped out. But then...
Okay, slow down. I can't keep up when you talk that fast. Slow down just a tad. I remember that a little bit. So now, do you have anybody in Oregon, friends or family, or is that why you ended up in Oregon, or you just randomly got to Oregon? I forget.
I have missing people here in Oregon. That's what I have. David and Katie Saltzman were going to help me with the Natalie case. I have some evidence from them. They sent it to me and some other stuff.
Okay, and Natalie is your friend from Colorado that was murdered, correct?
She wasn't murdered. It was assisted suicide, and I approve.
Okay, but that's who Natalie is?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about the other two people that had evidence. You said David and who?
David and Katie Saltzman. They were going to try to help me because I didn't have any help in person, and they sort of understood autism. But
and where are they now?
They're missing. They've been missing since 2019.
What do you mean missing?
They disappeared.
Like they left, or like
they disappeared. I don't know. They just disappeared.
Like maybe they moved out of Oregon, or do you think something bad happened to them?
They disappeared. I don't know. But ma'am, I want you to know, all right, there's a lot of people that I personally know who have ended up dead. Natalie isn't the first one.
Okay. And you think that is because of the police?
No, I don't think it's because of the police. I think it's because of police stupidity. The thing is that the cops didn't want to do their jobs for an at-risk homeless adult. They wanted to assume what they were told, and they didn't bother to find out if it was true or not. By the time they realized how badly they'd screwed up, Natalie had a hole in her head.
Okay.
So all of the agencies that I went to before Natalie died to try to get help, including the therapist, that's Nicole Peralta, and I went...
It didn't help, and then Natalie died.
It wasn't just Nicole Peralta, ma'am. They kept sending me all over the place. All of my disability money before Natalie died was going to services that were supposed to help stop the abuse. Services.
And do you get your disability money still now that you're in Oregon?
I do, but they're going to take it away because I don't have the ability to function. I keep telling everyone that. They don't understand it. Do what?
When you say they're going to take it away, who's they?
The people in charge of the Direct Express card, I had to use it to buy gun
Okay.
parts to make an illegal firearm in Nebraska. I was blackmailed into doing that.
Wait, you did do that, or they accused you of doing that?
No, they didn't accuse me of doing that. I've been trying to turn the gun in since before I made it. The guy who wanted me to make it was blackmailing me. He knew that I had protection orders, but he also knew I needed money, so he brought me a gun.
So what does...
He brought me a gun that was an AR-15, and he wanted me to fix it, and I told him no. But he really, really, really wanted me to fix it, and I tried, and he brought it back after I fixed it, and it was all broken. It's the first gun I ever broke. I never broke a gun like that. I'm a good gunsmith.
But okay, is that your trade? Like, that's what you do for a living? You're a gunsmith?
No, ma'am. I hate guns. Okay. I hate them.
Okay.
I don't like them. I believe in the Second Amendment, but I don't like guns.
I see. Okay, so you don't have this gun anymore, right?
Ma'am, it's still out there. I tried to turn it in multiple times.
I see.
The thing is that nobody would help me turn it in. I've posted up on my YouTube time and time again. I even posted up the receipts from my Direct Express card that show that I did order an 80% AR-15 kit. I actually ended up having to order 3 of them and an Echo 2 kit, which allows you to fire 2 rounds with one pull of the trigger. He wanted all sorts of bells and whistles, and he kept on telling me that he was going to tell Scott DaCosta that I had that gun and that I was working on people's guns because I'm not allowed to work on guns because I got protection orders against me. But the thing is that I had to somehow try to make up for all of the money that was being stolen from me. I had to make up for all of the money that was being used to make all these different resources. And then there was my disability money when they dropped it all off of me at once. Now
so where is that gun at now? You don't know.
No, I do know, unless they sold it, and that's what I'm worried about too.
Okay, but you don't have it anymore.
I don't, ma'am. What happened is I got a hold of Megan Missigatis when the guy was trying to blackmail me to begin with, and I told her about it, and she was supposed to be my autism advocate. She's just a volunteer, but everyone in Nebraska is a mandated reporter. I know the mandated reporter laws. I helped a lot of people in Colorado and Nebraska, but the laws change. I know that I'm talking really fast, but I'm scared.
Okay.
The thing is that I'm
trying to keep up, so when I ask you to slow down, it's just because I can't keep up. So that's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so hold on just a second, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So did the person at Tillamook Family Counseling Center upset you to the point where you won't go back there now?
Ma'am, they didn't upset me. They scared me. They always scare me because I...
What did they do to scare you? What happened that scared you? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I needed to tell them about the crimes that were committed. That's what I've gone to all of these services for, is to turn in the crimes that were committed, including that gun.
But aside from that, okay, let's just put that on pause for just a second, okay? Like stop thinking about that for just a moment. What can they and we do for you right now? Like, what do you need? You need a place to stay, is what it sounded like. You need somewhere quiet to be? Is that what?
I do. I have to be able to recover from all the extraneous noise. I can't function in this. I literally can't function.
And are you living in your car right now, or are you not in your car?
I'm living in my car.
Okay.
I keep people safe, ma'am. I don't hurt people.
I know. I'm not saying that you do. Do you drive your car around, or does your car not work?
I do drive my car around. I have to. I can't make it to these services if I don't.
Okay. I didn't know if you were walking around town. I feel like last time we talked, you might have been walking.
I probably was. I can walk about 2 to 3 blocks with my cane if I don't have a backpack on. But I can't walk from my car to the park bench 30 feet away from me with my Evans backpack.
Okay. So back to your disability. Did they reinstate that here for you or not yet? You're working on that?
Yes, ma'am. But
they did.
The problem is that I needed help with all of that. And the lady who was trying to help me, she's got mental problems and she really screwed it up and they sent it back. And I won't be able to get my money back because of the address thing and somebody has to go with me. I can't function when I go out alone. I'll forget what I'm doing because I'm overwhelmed. I can't stop having nightmares about not seeing my friends. I can't stop having nightmares about the cops beating me up. I can't stop having nightmares about cops pretending that I was trying to kill myself so they didn't have to take a report.
So who would you like to go with you? You want somebody from Tillamook Family Counseling to go with you? I thought that you didn't trust that.
I didn't trust that because the first multiple times that I went to Tillamook Family Counseling, they didn't do anything. Plus, the assault at the hospital here on January 28th, there was a lady from Tillamook Family Counseling there named Kathy.
And, Kathy Sias?
I believe so. And she was just trying to push that suicide thing. And that's so hurtful. And when I was explaining to her, hey, I'm trying to turn in actual abuse. I am in a lot of physical pain right now. I am trying to function. I'm autistic. I can't handle the taste of pills. They gag me. And that's not a hateful thing. They wanted to give me a Tylenol for my back, and that's not going to touch my back pain, ma'am.
It sounds like they were trying to help you the best that they could, and you just didn't want that type of help.
Ma'am, no, it's not that I didn't want that type of help. I mean, first of all, the thing is that I went in there for abuse, same as always. I went in there to try to turn in the cops for not doing their jobs as mandated reporters because I literally cannot take care of myself.
But what it sounds like you're saying though is that the abuse that you're talking about it sounds like you're talking about police misconduct, which wouldn't be the same as an abuse, like a vulnerable abuse investigator like myself, for example. Remember we talked about this a little bit back in December.
But when police take advantage of a vulnerable adult, that's who they send me to, is you.
Right, but I wasn't understanding how they were taking advantage of you in Tillamook. You were telling me about Colorado.
Hold up. That's the thing with you getting confused, is that you're going to get confused if you keep interrupting me, and then I will get overwhelmed and I will have a panic attack. And then when I really need to be listened to, I'm going to be having a worse panic attack because you're probably going to hang up because I'm having a panic attack over trying to get heard. That'll only make it worse. I'm trying to explain it the best I can.
Okay, but then please talk about what happened. What happened to you in Tillamook?
When I was at the hospital and I was trying to turn in the abuse against me, and I was trying to explain that I needed a caseworker there because I can't take care of myself, that I've called everybody there is and I get sent around in circles, and that I needed to turn in the police, and that I needed to turn in one of their other clinics because of safety issues that they had created.
Okay, and what were those safety issues?
I was trying to turn in the police and the people who were taking advantage of me because they weren't investigating the crimes. They were making any excuse not to, and they kept on changing the laws. It's like every officer that I talked to had a different rendition of the law based on whatever it is that I'm not capable of doing. That's what they'd tell me to do.
And so the crimes against you, you're talking about crimes that happened to you in Tillamook, not the ones in Colorado or Nebraska.
I'm talking about crimes that happened in Tillamook that are a result of me being victimized elsewhere and being forced to move to here, same as elsewhere. And now I can explain the Tillamook thing from when I got here. Can I do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, yes, that's what I want to hear.
All right, so I had to flee another jurisdiction. They kept on telling me that I needed to move somewhere else. That only allows my predators to go free, and it eats up all of my funds. But I moved, and I was stalked here by a guy from Hood River who was trying to inappropriately touch little kids, and he also tried to assault me in the McDonald's.
Okay, so did you report the inappropriate touching of children to Child Protective Services?
She's not a child. She's a grown adult. She's just really small. And I did try to
That's
contact Child
okay. So it's an
Protective
adult that
I
they
did
were doing that to.
multiple adults. I have tried to contact Child Protective Services on multiple occasions. The problem is that I can't function stuck out here. I can't talk about rape and murder in a Starbucks or a Fred Meyer. I can't do any of this from out here on the streets. There's a young woman who was trafficked from Colorado to Texas, and I was trying to turn that in as well. I heard about it from up here, so I tried to turn it in from up here. But the other thing is, I'm in a state of crisis, so I can't explain things right. Anyway, I did try to go to the cops. They were busy victimizing all of the homeless people there. This is done nationwide. We don't matter. They prey on the fact that we don't matter, and they prey on the fact that basically the American public hates us. So we're the most victimized people in America from the American public and the police. Anyway, when I got here, that guy had stalked me here, and I was planning on driving further south. But I didn't get any further south because I pulled into a rest area, and when I went to sleep at the rest area, he was there at the rest area. Now I make videos everywhere I go so that people can't pretend that I'm somewhere I'm not doing something to somebody I didn't. I record everything live on YouTube to the best of my ability, and I didn't used to have to do that. But I don't have the technological ability or the space or the mental capacity to do any of this while I'm in a state of crisis. I can't turn in predators. I'll just be talked over. When I got here, that stalker, he stalked me to multiple locations here. I have a lot of evidence of it. I just didn't have a place to set up my computer where I wasn't stuck in public. You know, we're hated by everyone, ma'am. Anyway, I had to try to contact the police about multiple situations with Molly. She's a crazy lady who's messing around with a guy named Tom. And they were both offering to help me, but then she was going crazy talking about the Illuminati and the CIA and talking about killing people and trying to accuse people of doing stuff they didn't when everybody wanted to stay away from her. She was real mean. And there's a lot of people here that a lot of the different services might know, people like Alexander or Christian. I don't know if Christian was here for the Molly situation, but there's a lot of homeless people that I've recorded that would have been victimized by her as well. But then she goes to the church feeds and she talks all night. Sorry, there's somebody with a baby next to me, and
I hear a bunch of honking in the background.
It's a baby. It's a baby sitting in the driver's seat. It's actually pretty cute, but you understand how no matter what, I'm stuck in this and I'm barely able to communicate. This is all I can do, ma'am. All I can do is talk until I have a space that I can sit down with my evidence. And I also need assistance because I'm not good with this electronic stuff and I'm incapable of learning when I am in a constant state of panic. This is something all of my predators preyed on. Anyway, Molly, she was threatening my life. I don't know what happened.
Hello?
Hello, we got disconnected.
I don't know what happened. 1 minute you were there, and the next you were gone.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I was asking if you have been able to go utilize the library to do the work that you want to do.
Ma'am, that's the thing about my disabilities is that my back won't allow it.
So what do you want then? What will your back allow? You said you wanted a space to work. What kind of space do you need?
Well, ma'am, this is one thing that's difficult is getting somebody to look at the conditions I live in. I can't function. With my back problems, I'm not supposed to lift more than 10 pounds. I'm not supposed to twist.
Okay, I'm not asking for those. I mean, who's asking you to do that stuff?
Ma'am, the reason I'm telling you this is because my backpack weighs more than 10 pounds. My bag full of paper evidence weighs more than 50 pounds. And I've got
Okay.
multiple bags of paperwork.
So how, I don't know how to help. I mean, if we had a space for you to work, but you say you can't still work in that space, what can we do?
What space can't I work in?
No, I'm saying you say you can't work in a space because you can't twist and carry things.
I didn't say I couldn't work in a space. I said I couldn't carry things.
Okay, so you need somebody to carry things for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you're asking for?
No, ma'am. I'm asking for a place where I can sit down with my evidence and work on what I need to.
Okay, and that's why I asked about the library, and then you told me about your back, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I can't carry my stuff in and out of the library every day, and it is not an appropriate environment to do it. It's not quiet.
So you need a space where you don't have to pack up and take it away and pack it around.
Yes, ma'am. I've needed that since I hurt my back in 2015.
And have you, since you've been in Tillamook, are you planning on staying long term in Tillamook, or is your hope to not be in Tillamook?
I hoped to. All right, let me explain it like this, since I haven't gotten to explain the situation here. I don't have the money to go anywhere. I'm dependent upon others. I can't go anywhere. All of my money has been spent going to these resources for 6 months for help that doesn't exist. Shipping me off to elsewhere does absolutely nothing for the record that's been created for me here. It doesn't do anything for any of the friendships that I've made here. I don't have any friends here. I've got people who pretended to. Every situation where I was abused, I was removed from one more situation here because of safety reasons. I had to remove myself from it. And I'm sent to these places where there's safety issues. And I'm trying to explain the safety issues one at a time. But I need to be able to do that. When it comes to the help that I need a safe environment that me and my evidence aren't going to be harmed in.
So you need a place to live?
Yes, ma'am, but it's more complicated than that because I had a place to live in Chapel, Nebraska, but having a place to live doesn't stop victimization, especially when there's a bunch of people that are mad at you. So
in Tillamook, you want a place to live? Or in this area, you want a place to live?
Ma'am, could you stop making it about the housing and let me explain it without your questions? Could I do that?
I'm trying to figure out what you need right now because what I'm mostly hearing is all the terrible things that have happened outside of right now.
Ma'am, it's not stuff that has happened outside of right now, okay? It's not stuff that has happened outside of right now. It's stuff that has lifelong consequences for disabled people, especially if they're homeless. These things have lifelong consequences.
So when I'm trying to ask you about not being homeless, then you're saying it's not about that. I don't know what to do to help you.
You could stop talking over me and asking the questions. I'm trying to answer them. But the thing is that I'm frustrated and it may take me a few seconds to answer a question. That's one of the things about being autistic and in a state of crisis is that I am trying my best to communicate, but it's getting more and more difficult by the moment.
So you just want me to sit here and listen to you is what you're telling me? You don't want me to try to ask questions to help problem solve?
Ma'am, I need you to know what's going on before you can help problem solve. That's why I try to tell people. I try to tell people why I'm being abused, why I have to move so often, why I'm disabled, why I can't take care of myself. I try to show people how much of it there is, how overwhelming it is, how many people have been horrible to me, and how I've been separated from my loved ones, from my money, from everything that I needed to take care of myself, all because of the term mentally ill. Anybody can take advantage of me, calling me mentally ill, and I can't do anything except take it. That is how easy it is, and that's how easy it's been. No evidence is important. It's just what my predators have to say that's important, because they have access to the resources to turn it in. They also have access to friends and family to harass me and gaslight me until I have a mental breakdown, and then they turn me in and pretend I'm an evil person. And when I say they, there's literally hundreds of people that have been involved in this just from the Natalie Bollinger case. And yes, they still harass me here. I'm easy to victimize, and everyone can tell. Yes, I am intelligent, but I have to try hard to normalize when I try to talk to you or anyone else. Because if I am having a panic attack over people actually hurting me, actually assaulting me, and I have to scream, please listen, please listen, please listen, I get yelled at like I'm a bad person for saying, please listen. Eventually, I do scream for help. I scream at the top of my lungs for help, and I scream for people to kill me, please. I don't want to do that. I would rather be dead than have a panic attack. And then there's things that are worse than panic attacks, like being stuck in public after being made a target for the public. And then that trauma doesn't disappear just because people tell you that it does. My inability to take care of myself before Natalie was killed contributed directly to me being ignored by all of the agencies that I went to. The only person who helped me was Tamara. I can't collect this evidence myself. That's supposed to be the police's job, and they never tried. They never tried to investigate any of the criminals that harmed me, no matter what. No matter what, I did what I was supposed to. I reached out to friends and family. I reached out to police. I reached out to Department of Health and Human Services. I have been to every service that there is.
I'm still here. I'm still listening.
Yes, ma'am. That's something that I can't help, though. When I'm stuck in a noisy environment, it makes it difficult for me to speak.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to do for you, Sean. I'm still not understanding what you want from me.
All I had to do was wait for the ambulance to go by and stop.
Okay, I'll shut up again then. Keep going.
Ma'am, I'm not trying to be rude to you. This isn't something I can turn off. Anyway, in order for me to turn in any of that abuse, I needed a safe environment. I still need that safe environment. I get that we can jump through the hoops for housing, but we need to focus on the abuse because it is ongoing. It has deprived me of everything. I have the paperwork for what constitutes abuse against an at-risk adult, and I have gone through all of it. I've gone through sexual abuse and physical abuse. I've gone through gaslighting, and instead of pretending like it goes away, I'm still being gaslighted. I still have hundreds of text messages that people have sent me from restricted numbers. I have to be afraid to answer the phone because it might be somebody who threatened or harassed me. I can't tell the difference between a police officer's restricted number and the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of restricted numbers that call me.
Well, if it ends up being somebody that you don't want to speak to, you can always just hang up on them. But if it ends up being a police officer that wants to help you, you should take these calls, especially if you've been calling in reports.
Ma'am, I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of situations where there's examples of me answering the phone, hoping that it was going to be the cops, and it was just over and over and over these people harassing me. There were witnesses in nearly all these situations.
When you say these people, who are these people?
They're web sleuths.
The what?
They're web sleuths. And the Bollinger family. Web sleuths, these are people who watch true crime. They're all infatuated with death and murder and all sorts of sick nastiness.
And they're calling you, you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. They've been doing this since 2016 with Natalie's family. And since 2017, starting when she died, a whole lot more people got involved.
So was Natalie murdered in 2016? Is that correct?
No, she was murdered in 2017.
17.
That's right.
And this is her family. contacting you.
Ma'am, please. It's getting real confusing because you're asking questions. Just let me finish without asking, please.
Keep going then.
I was trying to, but I lost my train of thought, and that's why it's so difficult.
You're talking about the people calling you.
I was getting people making harassing and threatening phone calls to me and text messages for over a year before Natalie was killed. I was being stalked by her and her junkie friends. I just wanted them to leave me alone. I went to every service I was told to, and none of them would do the job. They kept blowing me off. We're not treated the way that women are when they're in crisis. We're not. We're treated like we're villains and we're predators and we're out to kill people when we have a crisis of people actually assaulting us, actually threatening our lives, actually threatening our families' lives. People like Tim Beeson, one of her predators, people like Ted Bollinger, and they kept on calling me and text messaging me and harassing me for over a year before she was killed. My support network, it was all in Boulder. And I couldn't go back to Boulder because that's where I knew Natalie from. And she had called people in Boulder, or her sister did, and claimed that I threatened to kill her family, and that's an outright lie. I've got all the messages between her and I that show that we were friends in Virginia, and it was a situation with a broken telephone and a broken car that resulted in us not being friends. And I did the right thing. I left. I drove 1,700 miles to get away from her. But she called Maddie Boa and told Maddie Boa in Boulder, who was another one of those meth dealers, that I had threatened her family. And then Maddie Boa went and spread that rumor that I had threatened a couple of girls and their family in Virginia. By the way, they were both grown adults. Then that rumor got twisted into a lot worse rumors. And I was trying to go to the cops, and the cops told me, well, you need to settle this out of court before we can do anything. You need to get a hold of her and let her know that if she doesn't knock it off, that you're going to get a hold of the police. So I let her know that if she didn't knock it off, that I was going to retaliate. I was going to turn in the police. And my evidence shows that. I've been posting it on Facebook and YouTube for 6 years because I don't have any help turning it into the cops. If I turn it in alone, I've got message after message from the cops claiming they can't see anything that I sent them. There's also the fact that in order to get a quiet environment, I have to hope that somebody will accept my disability money in exchange for allowing me a space where I can be there. But I've been forced to stay with drug dealers and drug addicts. And they're volatile. And as a result, just like out here with volatile drug addicts, I don't hate them, I'm afraid of them. And I just wanted to get away from them. I still just want to get away from them, but there's nowhere to go to that you can get away from them in this country. Now, Natalie Bollinger, her friends and family harassed me from multiple jurisdictions before she was killed. A lot of people did. They harassed me from Broomfield, from Boulder, from Virginia. And there's the majority of that evidence still left. There's some of it that when Natalie Bollinger died, a lot of these, it was on the news. They tried pegging me as a stalker. She had been able to get a protection order from me, or a protection order against me 2 weeks before she died, only because I had to do desperate things to try to get help getting a protection order. And I was told by Jeff Ritter that he wouldn't be able to help me until I had paperwork. Natalie said that she was going to meet me to stop all the crazy. She wanted to meet at Starbucks on Pearl Street, but I was afraid of that. So I told her I wanted to meet at the police station. She didn't want to do that. It ended up being a protection order. But she kept on threatening me over and over and over again with calling the police after I'd called the police over and over again.